Hello there, and welcome to today's recap of the anime series titled Call of the Night. In a nutshell, it's a story about an unsatisfied teenager who wishes to abandon his mundane and ordinary school life by embracing vampirism instead. Unfortunately, it's easier said than done, and so a ton of complications such as philosophy, friendships, and even love itself prevents our protagonist from attaining his goal. Anyways, stay tuned in case you're wondering how the story unfolds. In the initial scene, we witness the 14-year-old Ko Yamori sneak his way out in the dead of the night. While wandering around, Ko recalls having become fed up with school after he rejected a fellow classmate's confession of her love for him. Simply put, Ko himself is not really into the whole romance thing and doesn't even fully understand what the concept of love actually entails. On his first night out though, Ko runs into Nazuna, a pretty girl who claims that people wander at night simply because they're unsatisfied with the way their day concluded earlier. A bit impressed, Ko decides to tag along with Nazuna back at her apartment after she promises to help him recover that long-lost satisfaction. Once there, Ko is a bit hesitant and unnerved after Nazuna coaxes him to share a bed with her. Nonetheless, the boy lies down in hopes of seeing the whole thing through. Soon after faking sleep, Ko learns of Nazuna's true identity as a vampire once she starts to suck blood out of his neck. While Nazuna is busy commenting about how delightful Ko's blood tastes, the fellow himself jerks back up and demands an explanation. Here, Nazuna reveals how a simple bite won't turn him into a crazy bat like her. Rather, to become one, he must actually fall in love with any random vampire and then have that person suck on his blood. Anyways, since he already hates acting like an early bird and going to school, Ko decides to give becoming a vampire a shot and see what happens. This leads to them both striking a deal, with Nazuna promising to turn Ko in exchange for a daily dose of his blood. However, whether he truly falls in love with her or not, for the sake of becoming a vampire or not, is none of her concern. On the following night, a messy-haired girl named Akira bumps into Ko while he's busy strolling the streets. Guess what? She used to be somebody he could call a friend back in primary school. However, things changed once they entered mid-school and hence, by now, the two of them haven't talked in ages. Anyways, Akira appears glad to have run into Ko, seeing as how she too barely has anybody else to call a friend. Nazuna pops out of the blue just then. Witnessing Ko's relationship with another female arouses her envy. Nazuna therefore starts to suck on Ko's blood in Akira's presence as a way to make her opponent feel jealous. Later at a cafe, Ko clears things up by claiming he isn't being forced to have his blood sucked. Rather, it's a win-win situation for them both. Akira here starts bugging Ko to return back to school, claiming how both of them can have lots of fun together. Plus, he will be far out of reach of monsters such as Nazuna. Ko leaves without giving a concrete answer, since he still doesn't wish to speak about how he's given up on studying entirely and hopes to become a vampire instead. Nazuna, of course, becomes overjoyed upon knowing that, and therefore plants a kiss on Ko's mouth as a reward. The unaware Ko mistakes that kiss as a sign of true love between couples. Yep, the boy's clueless, no doubt. Anyways, Ko later starts pestering Nazuna to turn him into a vampire ASAP by drinking his blood now that he's already in love with her. Nazuna pops his fantasy bubble by carefully explaining the difference between actual love and lust, with the latter being what Ko is experiencing at present. Later at the bus station, Ko is actively approached by a rather flirtatious blonde woman named Suri. The two seem to be getting along fairly well until Suri makes a move on Ko by attempting to suck his blood dry. Yep, you heard me right. She's a Batgirl just like Nazuna. Just then, Nazuna enters the scene like a fierce wind and ruthlessly slashes away one of Suri's arms like it's nothing. Bet that's just the way vampires greet one another. A bit cold for my taste, though. Regrettably, while Nazuna is preoccupied with dealing with Suri, another vampire shows up and flies away with Ko in the flicker of an eye. The boy is then taken atop the roof of a skyscraper where he runs into 3 other, just as pretty vampires. The leader of the bunch is Nico, while the others are named Midori, Hatsuka, and Kabura respectively. Nico cuts to the chase by spelling out how it's taboo for vampires to hang out with humans for long without converting them. That said, Nico and the rest offer to turn Ko into a vampire ASAP without the need to actively fall in love. All he has to do is pick whichever one of them as his progenitor, and pretty soon he will become her offspring. Ko here astonishingly turns down such a pleasant offer, claiming how Nazuna is the only person he wishes to fall in love with and be converted by, no matter how long that takes. Although a bit disappointed, Nico and the rest give way after all and thus allow Ko to leave with his would-be lover Nazuna peacefully. Afterwards, Ko plans a midnight date to help facilitate his falling in love agenda. Sadly enough, none of these things on his to-do list are able to bring any sense of joy or excitement to Nazuna, except for the last one though, which is a mid-air vamp-human dance to be exact. Guess what? Dancing together at such heights does help spice things up a notch by making them feel closer to one another. A couple days later, Ko unexpectedly runs into an eccentric-looking detective named Anko while outside. Much to his surprise, Anko is well aware of the existence of vampires and is even actively trying to hunt them down. Back in the present, Anko becomes a bit suspicious of his involvement with vampires. Even so, the detective lets matters slide for the moment by allowing Ko to take his leave. Thinking he's off the radar already, Ko ends up sneaking inside of his school the exact same night together with Akira and Mahiru, another classmate he had lost touch with until recently. While chilling about, the three unfortunate fellas end up bumping into a nutjob vampire inside one of the classrooms. From the looks of it, the newcomer's been starving for an eternity. That said, the old geezer gives in to bloodlust, and so he pounces on Akira in the blink of an eye, hoping to chew her guts out, of course. Ko and the rest managed to resist and survive long enough for Anko to come in. Yep, she had apparently been stalking Ko the entire time. Anyways, pretty soon, Ko and the others' jaws drop to the ground after Anko utilizes some mysterious means to slay that vampire and turn it into ash, despite being a mere human herself. The incident shatters Ko's resolve to become a vampire like an earthquake. Simply put, the boy's mind becomes riddled with philosophical concepts, such as whether vampires are truly evil creatures or not, the dangers they may potentially pose to humanity, and last but not least, whether it's okay for himself to become a vampire or not. On the flip side, Nazuna notices Ko's current discomfort regarding the whole become a vampire goal. She therefore heads over straight to Nico's place and requests from her to let Ko live without turning him into a vampire. Nico becomes infuriated at first, but nonetheless concedes for the time being, hoping to observe the situation a while longer. On the other hand, Hatsuka from Nico's camp offers to turn Ko into a vampire, since doing so will be good for Ko, plus Nazuna won't be forced to clash against Nico and the others. Once again, Ko declines the offer, firmly declaring how he wishes to be turned by Nazuna and her alone. Having said that, Ko rushes back outside, hoping to locate his beloved Nazuna and confirm her safety. Ironically, she's found standing at the exact same spot where they first met. Nazuna feels touched upon learning that Ko's still hell-bent on falling in love with just her alone. In return, she too declares how she will struggle to become a vampire worthy of his love and affection. That brings an end to our current recap. As always, I can't wait to hear what your most favorite part in the entire series is. Mine specifically were those mid-air dances, to be honest. After all, not only is the event itself thrilling, but it also helped our main characters become closer and more attached to one another.